Hello and welcome to video number 5 in a series of videos designed to demonstrate how to use the Fractal Suite with the Bloomberg trading platform. In the last video, we demonstrated how to activate and use the ARC indicator. In this video, we are going to focus on the ARC trend indicator and explain the difference between the ARC trend indicator and the ARC. For this reason, I left the ARC on the panel 2 so that we can overlap the ARC trend indicator on top of it and make a comparison. I think it will help you to understand the difference if you can see that. So first, let's go to our settings window, scroll down to plot ARC trend, checkbox, click it, update. Now what we have in yellow is the ARC trend. The difference between the ARC trend and the ARC is that the ARC trend is comparing the last traded price against a previous price on the chart. So you may ask yourself, what's the purpose in that? Well, the reason why we're doing that is because in effect we're creating a separate instrument by looking at a previous price point that's trailing behind the current last traded price, and then we're using the ARC to measure the attractor repulsor number that is between the last traded price and that previous price. And the whole goal here is to determine whether or not the market is in a range mode or a trend mode. So using the pointer here, what I'm going to do is attempt to explain how this works in theory. Essentially, we have the last traded price here. Now if we're looking back at, say, a price 10 bars ago, and we're comparing this price against the price 10 bars ago, we can use the ARC to measure whether or not this last traded price is actually returning back to the previous price level or it's moving away from it. If it's moving away from it, we can deduce that the market is in a trend state. If it's returning to that price, we can deduce that the market is in a range state, or at least moving toward that direction. So the difference between the two is that one is specifically focused on the predictor of the closing price, while the other, which is the ARC trend, is focused specifically on the historical price. Now we can control which historical price we use by using the settings menu and looking at this momentum length input. As it stands right now, the default is 10. Now what this is doing is it's used for the momentum indicator, which I'm going to show you in just a few minutes, but it is also used for the ARC trend. So in other words, if we set this to, say, 5 rather than 10, what we're going to be doing is comparing the last traded price against the closing price 5 bars back. And as you can see here, the ARC trend changed. So let's zoom in on that, and we'll do it one more time so you can see it a little more clearly. Okay, so as it stands now, we have the legend, which is giving us the actual values for the attractor repulsor value, the AR range trend, which is the same as the ARC trend indicator, and we have the momentum is not displayed at the moment, so we have not applicable. And then we have the markers, which are fixed, and currently we still have the positive 0.40 and negative 0.40. So now what this is indicating to us is that the yellow line is indicating that we are in a range or about to go into a range, and the negative area here, the negative yellow line, is indicating that we are in a trend or about to enter one. So for clarity purposes, let me remove the ARC, and this may help to allow you to see this more effectively. And now let's go ahead and change the settings once more. So again, this is very similar to the way that the ARC works. If we select a lower number, we're using less data, so it's going to be much more responsive and quick. However, we're not smoothing the noise. Typically what we do with this indicator is we match the observations for the arc with the momentum length. So here I'm going to change this to 5, and this alone should change our indicator, and it did. So now we have an AR range trend of negative 0.2549. This is highly responsive. Of course, if we can, this is condensed, so if we expand it, we'll be able to use it more effectively. So we can take a look at it this way, zoom in a bit, and you can get a little bit of a better view of what's going on. So here, at this point, the arc goes from positive to negative. It tells us we're going into a trend, and sure enough, we do. Now, if we were looking at if we want to filter out some of that noise, what we can do is conversely change this to a higher number, let's say 15, and then also change this to 15 and update. You will definitely see a difference in the way that the arc looks. Arc trend, excuse me. Let's expand that out. And now it actually indicates that we're in a range over the longer term. So you can use this in various different ways, and part of it is take some time. It's subjective to become accustomed to how it operates, and also dialing it in for the different market types and time frames you're using. But I think that you will find that once you become familiar with it, it will be a very useful tool for determining range and trend situations in the marketplace. This concludes video number 5. Next, we will be moving on to the momentum indicator itself, and that will conclude this panel once we finish that video. See you in video 6.